I am the Associate Vice President and the Chief Data Officer here at the University of Arizona, twice an alumni from University of Arizona as well. And what industry I work in, we actually have a very hybrid unit. We actually have a side that does business intelligence, that is on the IT front. And then we have an institutional research side that is very higher ed research focused side of the team. So that's what we do. We are responsible for all institutional data that gets generated for our students, the U-Access student system. And then we actually bring that piece in and we are able to do research on that. To answer your first question, I would say I got lucky. I did electrical engineering, and coming from India, it was hard as an international student to find a job in the recession and everything else. And one of the things that happened to me, that's why I say it's luck, was University of Arizona was doing an implementation of replacing all their enterprise systems like U-Access Student and everything else. And I just got an opportunity to come in. First few months, I realized that this was something that was my calling, I guess. I would say it that way, and not necessarily electrical engineering, maybe, because I think the impact that we could make through what we do here today, to me, was a lot bigger from my perspective, in the sense of it impacts our student, it impacts our younger generations coming in, and we can just help out on how to make higher ed a better place for students. It just felt that I was making an impact pretty quickly on day-to-day basis. One of the things that has worked for me is the ability to adapt to different situations, being practical and efficient in terms of processes and all of those things. And that's where the IT side comes from. And then the other part is just asking questions, asking the why question. Why do we want to do this? Why is it important? Why would students benefit from it? Why would employees benefit from it? Keeping that in mindset helps you do better research, answering some of the questions that might not have even been asked yet. The biggest skill that I feel I can use right now is just being practical and being efficient. Any work, any project that I've been in, are we being practical and how efficient are we? You know, if we're taking too long, maybe it's not worth doing it. Or if we're doing it, we're not being efficient, like all of those questions. So again, I will go back to the piece that I said, why? Why are we doing it? And are we going to be efficient? When I went back to school to get my engineering management master's degree, you know, the project management skill, the financial analysis, talking about cybersecurity, because there's an IT side to our job. Any of those things are integral to any business enterprise that is. And university, even though we are here to educate students, there is a back end to it that is also business. So one of the things that helped me, I learned a lot from just Googling stuff. Till this date, when I don't understand something, I go in and do that. One resource that I will say that our current students have access to is me. Please reach out to me and I'm going to be happy to help and work with them. Just staying up to date on what's happening in the world. Figure out an area where you are more inclined towards, right? If you enjoy higher ed, learn more about higher ed. It's a technical field, but you need to know the underlying business processes and what the outcome the customer is looking for. Being that way to understand that this is why we're asking these questions is super critical on that front. One thing that I'll say, I'm a glass half full kind of person. Over the last 18 months, because we haven't had conferences in person, a lot of the conferences that have happened over Zoom, and they have made recordings public. So if anyone wants to go in, use that as a resource and see what are some of the conversations that are happening on that front, to just learn and just stay up to date on that front. The biggest resource, I would say, our faculty members have so much more to offer than just the in-class experience. There are research experiences that are available for a lot of students to take, whether you're undergrad, grad school, career services. I remember when I was graduating with my undergrad degree that it was like, you know, when you're looking for something, you're at their door every day. Hey, something opened up. So you do that part. I think the LinkedIn learning piece is important as well. That's available. I think we should do that. And just tapping into resources that are on campus already. Firmly believe that if a student asked us a question about, hey, I'm trying to get into this, where should I start? You know, what were some of the challenges? How can I mitigate those challenges even before I face them, right? I don't believe that there would be anyone on this campus who would be like, I don't have time for this. So please reach out. The important part is also to understand that once you start talking to people, you might realize that this is not for you. And at that point, you can change your course of direction. I've been on campus for 18 years at this point. Some of the faculty members that I had in my undergrad programs are now sitting at the tables working on strategy with us and our office on how we should do that or how we should undertake a project or things like that. So it is a comfort feeling from that perspective. But I would say, as a student, what were your challenges? Who did you work with? Like at our advising community, right? Our faculty members. Now I know we can do something for our faculty members, for our advising community, for our staff and everything else that would help them on that front. The relationships, I'm big on relationships. So anyone that I worked for or worked with back in my undergrad days are still people that I'm connected to from that perspective. Just staying in touch with everyone. You never know what might be your calling. And you might be like, oh, even though I went and got this degree, I actually like what you do. So I'm going to, change career paths and actually start doing something like that. A big part of where I am today is because of the relationships that I've built over the years. And that definitely helps me from that perspective. And that's something that I continuously try to work hard on, because I think it's very critical having a growth mindset on relationships as well. It's easier to sometimes manage relationships in one direction. Like I can manage up better, or I can manage sideways better, or manage down better. But I think like from a growth perspective, you have to try and figure out how to manage in all directions. Or when I say manage, not managing people, but managing relationships in this case.